Economic Activity in Islam by Connor Norton. There are many cultures that influenced the culture of Islam. They were influenced by these cultures in many different ways. One of the biggest influences of culture was economic activity. Trade and pilgrimage are two of the most important forms of economic activity that helped cultures influence Islam or Arabia. One reason trade was so important to Arabia inheriting ideas because Arabia was the center for spice trade. Also, if the Roman Empire wanted to trade with China, they had to go through Arabia. This brought many cultures through and to Arabia. These things influenced Arabia's recreational world, or games, and their forms of tools and engineering. Chess was a very important game that Muslims inherited from the Persians because geographically, Persia neighbors Arabia. It was first introduced to Muslims in 750 AD. After, the game began to spread westward, and the game started to become popular and was played by a large portion of the Arabian population. The game became so popular that rulers would have matches in their palaces. Even women, children, and slaves were allowed to play in these challenges. These rulers included people such as Caliph Umayyad Yazid I. Also, the game became popular during the Abbasid Caliphate. The reason for the game's popularity was because of its difficulty. Although the game was immensely popular, it was viewed by scholars as a form of gambling. This is because it caused people to neglect their prayers and religious life. The objective of the game is to checkmate the opponent's king by commanding a small army. Economic activity influenced chess on Arabia because Persia is geographically next to Arabia. Without the Persians influencing chess on Arabia, it would not be as popular as it is today. Like chess, polo was introduced to the Muslims by the Persians. The first known game played of polo was in 600 BC. It was first played between the Turkomans and Persians. One person who played polo was Persian King Darius. Although in Arabia, polo was favored above all sports that were played by Muslims at the time. Players rode champion Arabian horses. It was popular as a royal pastime because it required a horse to play. Also, it is known as the Game of Kings. This includes the caliphs. Polo is played on horseback by two teams on grass. Riders have to drive a small white plastic or wood ball through the opponent's net with a long mallet. Once again, like chess, Arabia inherited polo through being geographically next to Persia. So Persia influenced Arabia and made polo a very popular sport today. The Roman Empire was very influential on Arabia and influenced checkers, which is still played today. The first known game of checkers dates back to 1400 BC, but Arabs first learned checkers in 71 AD. Checkers was viewed as gambling, and it replaced gambling games played with dice. It was viewed as gambling because it caused players to care less about their prayers and neglect their religious life. This is important because it is forbidden for Muslims to gamble. Although it was forbidden to gamble, checkers was very popular among the Abbasid Caliphate. One person from the Abbasid Caliphate who played checkers was Caliph Abbas. The way checkers is played is similar to chess. Checkers is played by two players and involves diagonal moves to make the pieces move. The objective of the game is to capture all of your opponent's pieces by jumping over them. Arabia learned checkers through economic activity since the Roman Empire had to go through Arabia to trade with China. Checkers is very popular today, but it might not be as popular if the Roman Empire did not influence checkers on Arabia. The astrolabe was a tool originally used by the Greeks, but was adopted by the Islamic Empire. The origin or inventor of the astrolabe was Greek astronomer Ptolemy. In 150 AD, Ptolemy wrote about the astrolabe, proving that it existed. But the astrolabe was first introduced to Arabia in the 9th century. When Arabia inherited the astrolabe, they improved on it and made it fully developed. The astrolabe was very helpful to the Muslims for many reasons. For example, it helped when Muslims prayed so that they could face Mecca or the Qibla when they prayed. Also, it can be used to locate and predict the position of the sun, moon, planets, and stars. But one of the most important features of the astrolabe was it could find the latitude of your position. The Greeks were conquered by the Roman Empire, and when the Roman Empire went to trade with China or Arabia, they could have brought the idea of the astrolabe with them after they adopted the idea from Greece. This tool is very helpful to sailors today because of the improvements Arabia has made to it. The compass is a tool known by many people today. It was originally a Chinese invention. It was made around 221 to 206 BC. It was invented during the Qin dynasty and was later adopted by Arabia. It is a tool of navigation that the Arabs improved for sea navigation. Like the astrolabe, the compass helped Muslims pray facing Mecca. But instead of using a plain old compass, they used a modified compass called a Qibla compass. This compass still points north, but it marks the direction of Mecca on the perimeter of the compass. One way Arabia could have adopted the compass from China is when China was forced to go through Arabia to trade with the Roman Empire. This tool might not be used if Arabia did not improve on it. The water wheel was a Roman invention and was used by Arabians. The water wheel was first built by Roman engineer Vitruvius. It was built around 31 BC to 14 AD. It was a popular form of engineering because it provided cheap slave labor and it was mainly donkey or slave powered. How the water wheel works is simple. The power of the river turns the water wheel. Small buckets then pick up water as they pass through the river. Buckets then dump the water into an aqueduct that then brings the water to towns. This is very helpful since Arabia is in a dry area. This form of engineering could have been brought to Arabia when Romans brought their ideas through Arabia when trading with China and was inherited through economic activity. This was helpful for Arabs since water in Arabia is scarce and rare. All of these games, tools, or engineering were all inherited because of economic activity. This could include trade or pilgrimage. So when Arabia inherited these games or tools, they improved on them, and we still use them today. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching my movie. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later.